I am so honored to chat today with Jerome Lewis, also known as Mr. Implementation. Jerome has impacted the lives of over 9,800 real estate entrepreneurs. And Jerome, I just saw something. I think that number's too low now, right?
Yeah, it's a little low, but I keep it there because it's interesting for people to see that number like that. So I just keep it that way.
Good point. 40 states and 4 countries, and authority on marketing implementation for real estate professionals, helping with their tech, client attraction, and marketing strategies. Authored over 20 books, including the bestseller Real Estate Marketing Implementation. Also, the host of the popular Real Estate Marketing podcast and founder of Digital Real Estate Strategy. And there's more, but that probably gives people a good picture. And any fact checking? Do I need to change anything or?
No, sir.
All right, good stuff. And I was also going to mention that we have a few things in common. I also have an IT background, which has been just invaluable to me in marketing work. And it's not what people normally think about when they think of a marketing professional, but there's so many technical pieces involved. We both went through training in Dan Kennedy's magnetic marketing. And does this look familiar at all? Oops.
Yes, it does. I have mine down here. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was amazing training. And was it Darcy Juarez that
Yes. Yes.
yeah, she was fantastic. We
Absolutely.
also spent time together in the ad skills community where a lot of really high level media buyers hang out and brainstorm. We also share that we're both seem to be very 80/20 perfection is the enemy of progress kind of mindset. And the last point is that my book writing journey actually began with you, Jerome. You had taught that workshop with Leanna Ling about how to use AI to help write and promote a book in just a weekend. And although I spent a way more time than the weekend because I was being very fussy and trying to be perfectionist, it was fantastic. The structure and it got me started and got me to the finish line too. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Thank you. Yes, you're the first person, one of the very first people to buy the book. Really appreciate that. And I'll ask you about that a little bit later. So, my first question for you is what would you like people to know about you personally? And I'll just leave that wide open.
Personally, I would like people to know that I'm a soft person, right? Like I have this shell. I started to realize that I'm a little soft. Like I have a tough shell because business makes you that way, entrepreneurship makes you that way. But I'm truly like a soft person. I'm kind of a teddy bear. So that's one thing. And I'll share one more thing that I've started to embrace as of this year. I have a colleague and business partner that will point out, go, go, go. And I was diagnosed with ADD and ADHD as a child, and I started to embrace that, and not as a thing that works against me. Like most people, they might receive something, a diagnosis or anything, and they're like, okay, what's happening to me versus what's happening for me. So I want people to know that I have ADHD. I have a hard time focusing and staying still. And regardless of that, you can still get a lot of stuff done with limitations that may be placed on you or diagnosis, stuff like that.
Absolutely. I did not know about that, you. And so you're saying to you, it's not a liability, it's been an asset.
It is, to me, it is no longer a liability because I don't look at it that way. I'm not saying all disorders, and I say disorders with quotes, or diagnosis are can be looked at that way. But if you have take a different approach and a different mindset, it could shift things for you. So I start to embrace and utilize that, and I just accept it. And it's if this guy with ADD and ADHD that can barely focus, if he can do that stuff, imagine what others can do. So I like to help other people embrace what it is they're going through. And yeah, I'm really start to embrace and appreciate that. I even have you've been through Dan Kennedy and like magnetic marketing. So what I'm working on is like changing my message. And I bought these like fidget spinners for my marketing. So now when people purchase some of my products, they get a fidget spinner as part of their gift or prize. So I haven't crafted the message yet to embrace it, but that's what I'm working on for my messaging and my marketing.
Cool. And does that widget help you focus?
it gives me like something to do. I don't fully understand my ADHD and my energy and my go, go, go mentality yet, but it's like something that I do where I can focus when I get like fidgety or like hyper.
Interesting. Well, I've recently come to the conclusion myself that I don't know what it is, but my mind is always a tornado, always. And in fact, one of the things that I found was very helpful for me was I go for a walk daily, actually in this forest that you see behind me here. And I used to try to mm, focus or channel and try to get an answer to a specific question. But again, my mind would just keep shooting off. So I stopped fighting that. And now I just go and walk and I just enjoy the surroundings. I enjoy the fresh air and the beauty of nature, the sounds. And it's the longer that I walk, it's amazing to me how my mind does eventually come around and process and get to everything it needs to figure out and think about.
So to add to what you're saying, I can't remember, but it's within this year that I started to embrace this thing about ADD and ADHD, and I'm like, just use your energy, Jerome. And one of the things that I've decided to start doing more is actually taking walks, like what you're mentioning. So as of maybe April, May, like since June, I've been like more active and walking to get exercise intentionally. That's what I've been doing, walking,
Nice.
taking walks, and it really helps.
Excellent. And of course, all the other health benefits that come with that too.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind, can I stay on the personal? It's one thing that you have in literally all of my interactions with you when we're in ad skills and also when we're preparing for this too, you have such a strong commitment to serve. That's your focus. You kept turning around. How can you help me with this thing? Same thing in the community as well. So I'm just curious where that comes from.
That comes from, for me, there is like people have different religions, but I was raised as a Christian. Some of it have shifted and changed. You have different perspectives. And there, what I've learned was from like the figure in the Bible is Jesus. He's like, treat people how you want to be treated. So I genuinely always treat people how I want to be treated, regardless of how I feel or what I'm going through. I'm like, treat people how you want to be treated, exactly how you want to be treated. And I do my best to work towards that. Even if it's like something negative, like Jerome, you really need to fix that. I try to do that myself to other people. Like not based on how I'm feeling and if I want to feel good. It's just like, how would you want to be treated, Jerome? You want to grow? You want people to help you grow? You want people to serve you? You do the same thing. Give first. And I always think like to that golden rule of treat people how you want to be treated. Everything comes back to that for me.
Yeah, love it. I come from a similar background, although my path has taken me in different directions. But that's been one of the fundamental things that, especially, we're so blessed in North America with our, compared to so much of the world. So I feel a real obligation, not in a burden sort of way, but I just feel we're having so much. It's so important to try to give, and I really like putting other people first as much as possible. Cool. Switching over to business, tell me please more about who you serve. I mentioned real estate professionals, but that's a pretty broad umbrella.
Yes, it is very broad, and it's partly my fault that it's broad because I've have served real estate pros, real estate agents, real estate investors, real estate coaches, entrepreneurs, all types of. I'm within the real estate industry, so I generally say real estate pros. The ideal person I serve though is, which is things change as you're working and crafting your message and what it is that you're doing. My ideal person, they're like real estate leaders in a way. They're typically real estate coaches. They have some kind of audience or people that they're speaking to. They have a crowd of agents or investors or brokers that they speak to. So that is generally who I serve. People within a real estate niche that have an audience or a following that they're looking to deliver information, education, or strategy to.
And is it a kind of an even mix between all of those? Or does
It's not an even mix. It would be the teachers, they have an audience. What is the, I can't really think of it, but if they have an audience or a crowd, it's not an even mixture. It's the bottom line, the true answer. No, it varies. It goes up. Sometimes it goes up. Sometimes it goes down because real estate is cyclical too. Sometimes people, they get a bug depending on what's happening in the world. For instance, during COVID, a lot of people decided they wanted to become real estate agents. They took time and it was like, okay, I had to serve more real estate agents during COVID. But since COVID has ended, less real estate agents were coming in the industry. So I would serve more brokers. And brokers are the people who hire the real estate agents. Next, right now, who I'm serving most is real estate coaches. Like they have audiences like real estate investors or real estate agents. They have them and they're trying to deliver their message and help those people with strategy, implementation, marketing, those things.
Got it. And what is it then specifically that you help them with? Is it primarily on the implementation of marketing?
It is primary marketing implementation, which is part of the reason why I named the book what I named it. It's like implementation. A lot of us kind of know what it is that we should be doing to gain business, generate leads, create content, but we struggle with like implementation, accountability, deadlines, and getting stuff done. So I do help with the implementation. I don't do much fancy. It's like nothing fancy here, what it is that I do. I try to bring clarity, direction, and urgency to what people need to do. And that's how I help serve. They know what to do, but some roadblock or something, they're like not getting it done. And I come in and I help them get those things done. Very specific, organized, and detailed.
And is that a good tie-in to where you picked up the Mr. Implementation handle?
So, Mr. Implementation Handle, it is, I'm going to make it relevant. So, I was going through Dan Kennedy's training, the training that you mentioned a little bit earlier, the magnetic marketing. And I just remember I was sitting at the kitchen table. This is before I had this home office and stuff. My first office was the kitchen table. It was the dining room table. I was sitting there and I was listening to something. I was going through the training. And I remember, I can't remember if it was Dan or Darcy, both coaches, that said, pick a nickname and watch people start calling you that nickname. It's a part of marketing. And it was like during COVID, I remember I'm like, okay, what do people keep coming to me for? They're like, Jerome, I know exactly what to do. I don't need any education. I don't need any training. I just struggle with the implementation. And this was a constant theme. I used to teach a group of 50 to 100 agents like once a week. And this constant word kept coming up. I'm like, you just do the work. And I was like, me, I wasn't as empathetic as I am now, but I was like, I don't understand what the issue. You just do it. You implement the work. And I was like, I kept that in my mind. It's like Darcy, now I remember Darcy, she kept saying, what are they asking you for, Jerome? I was like, they just keep saying they don't know what to do. They know what to do, but they struggle with the implementation. And after reading that article or hearing from Darcy or Dan about like giving yourself a nickname, I said, people keep coming to me for implementation. Let me try to change my Zoom name and see what happens based on this nickname suggestion that they made. And I changed my name. And it, sure enough, as my coaches instructed, everyone started calling me Mr. Implementation just from that little change, and it's stuck ever since then.
Isn't it amazing what a little tactic like that, what a difference it
Mm-hmm.
can make? I'm terrible
Absolutely.
memorizing names, remembering names, but Mr. Implementation stuck out and it attached itself to your name. So I've had no problems remembering your name as well since then.
Thank you.
What is the most memorable win that you've helped a client achieve?
It's so many. So I want to use like a more recent one and I'm going to make it relevant to what it is that we're talking about and how we met. So I have a client who's a real estate coach. His name is David. And one time I had like in real estate, we have this thing where we present to clients. They call them listing presentations. So we had a mock listing presentation. David asked me to present for him in front of his group and do a listing presentation. And if I'm being honest, I did a terrible job on the presentation because I was like, I was kind of overconfident in the presentation and I went up and I was doing a mock thing and it did not work well. Didn't work well. So after that, they gave me some feedback. They said, Jerome, here's how you can improve, blah, blah, blah. And you really messed up. You didn't do a great job in front of the audience. And I was like, look, David, his name is David. I said, I really made a mistake. Here's what I'm going to do to make it up for you. I would listen to him and I would hear him talk about he wanted to publish a book. He'd been saying this for years. I want to publish a book. I got to publish a book. His book called I Want It More Than I Fear. And I said, David, since I messed up so bad, and for me to show you that I'm not just saying that I'm here to help you, for me to show you that I really mean to help you, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help you put together a book based on what it is that I know. And I helped him put that together. It took, I can't remember, but it took us like a short period, maybe 40 hours total. We eventually put it together and he did a book opening. I helped him order his book and everything like that. He would unbox it. And I just remember him recording it and he almost cried. He got really emotional and it really touched me because I helped him achieve something that was only in his mind and brain. He like really never sat down to like actually implement the thing. So it's very memorable for me and it's relevant today because I was like yesterday, I just remember how emotional he was. And it was like happy emotion. He was like, man, I can't believe that I did this. I was looking for the video so I could repost it because I was so proud to have helped him and show him that I'm not here to show off. I know I made a mistake and I turned something negative into something really positive. That was very memorable for me and I'll never forget it because of how happy he was.
Yeah, oh, I love that. That's the most satisfying thing with the work that we do is helping out our clients, and especially with a story like that. I love it. Switching to reviews, you have a really impressive, enviable number of reviews with a great high star rating. Do you have a specific process that you use?
I do, and I love to be honest and I love to be transparent. I don't make mistakes intentionally, less, but when I make mistakes or something, I like to embrace it, and I like other people to see me fail or mess something up. So I do, and I did have a process on how to gather and collect reviews. And I'm not as great as you, but I've learned some stuff from you, your book. My process for reviews initially, I used to like mostly I would try to send people to Google. And the process was I would teach people, or if I would help them achieve a win or a result, when they're at the point of their highest emotion, I would ask them for a review. Okay, and I learned this from the training that we mentioned a little bit earlier, which is the magnetic marketing training. I remember Darcy saying when people are at their point of highest emotion, that's when you want to ask them for feedback or review. And that stuck with me. And every time I would deliver value to people, I said, you know what? I'm going to get a review. I'm not going to ask for money and different stuff like this. The reviews and what other people say, that's more important. So I would go after what other people's words and what they would say. The process was, for example, there's multiple processes, but my best and most efficient process was after I teach an educational class between those 50 to 100 agents, I would ask them for honest feedback, not positive, not, hey, Jerome, you did a great job. I would say, always give me honest feedback so I can improve. And I always value the negative feedback more than the positive because the negative is where you would grow. So after a class or after I deliver people results or something to learn, I would ask them for a review. And I just had that process. I would do it. I would teach the class Thursdays at 2 o'clock. So every Thursday I would ask for feedback. Hey, give me honest feedback. Tell me how to improve. Am I speaking too fast? Am I speaking too slow? Was it too much information? I would always ask for honest reviews. And I always loved the positive ones, but I always focused on the negative ones, what people would say. And there was a constant theme in them and it helped me grow. So the process was I would teach. As soon as I deliver value, the main process, when people are happy, they're excited, and they're like, man, that was so much value. I would ask them, hey, could you give me a review? And most of the time, they would say yes. And would give me that review.
That's awesome. And that's one of the things that I do mention in my book, but I want to emphasize it even more because the way people look at it is I need more reviews, I need a better rating. But a far better way to think about it is exactly what you just described. How about asking what the experience was like, learning from that? And that gives you, rather than finding out in a bad review that you've dropped the ball or maybe there's a staff member that isn't doing well or whatever, get that feedback first, learn, just keep improving and keep improving the experience, delight your customers, and then the reviews will come more naturally and they'll be of higher quality. Yeah, love that. And do you use an app at all, or is it all in person, like direct asks?
I mentioned Google earlier on collecting reviews. And one of the things that I noticed, I knew this was coming up. I kind of read your mind. One of the things that I noticed is like every time I would have like reviews on Google, some of them would not go through. And I'm like, hey, Google, what is going on here? Some of my reviews are missing. It's no rhyme or reason to why some would post and some would not. So I learned, like, I still wanted that for the sake of Google reviews, my Google profile. But I learned that I said, hey, Google's not posting everything. So from once I learned that, I say, you know what, Jerome, try to take more control of what's happening and you get your direct, honest feedback via email or a text message or anything like that. So you can kind of have control over it. And the review or the information that someone delivered doesn't disappear. And then I also learned in the training I'm telling you about a little bit earlier, magnetic marketing, I also learned the less polished the reviews, the better they seem, the more authentic. So I'm always collecting feedback because it's like some people have an issue with me because I'm like extremely confident and sure of myself. Some people are like, so people are like, yeah, that's you. That's easy for you, Jerome, because you're so confident. My story is different. And I'm like, okay, how can I show that I'm nothing special? How can I show that people that I'm nothing special? Maybe they'll start to listen to other people. So I always get feedback from other people to prove that it's nothing special, that everybody can do things if they put their mind to. So that's a long way to say that I did used to use Google primarily, but now I get some kind of, I just want honest feedback from the person initially before I ask them to post it on Facebook or Google or some other platform, because those platforms have criteria and it's always changing. You're not always sure what they're going to say or what they're going to do.
Exactly. I love the way you're doing that. And now you're helping your clients with marketing implementation. And I'm curious, do you touch on reviews with them also?
I do. It's one of my favorite classes. I want to shout out another mentor of mine. His name is Kevin Donnelly. You might know him. I met him through magnetic marketing, and he would always talk about the voice of the buyer, and he helped solidify the importance of hearing from other people.
I've just
Oh,
made a note of
yes.
Kevin Donahue.
Yes, absolutely. So the other thing, one of the other cool things, or one of the other things that's consistent about me is if I recommend something, I like to practice what I preach. So if I have these reviews, I'm always trying to teach people other like what I do. I'm like, I'm not special, I'm not amazing. Do this. Just try my process. So I absolutely do. And to me, the reviews are more, they're worth more than you getting paid, because you can do so. It's like other content, and it's like not what you're saying, it's what other people are saying about you. And people tend to believe those things more. So I always, whenever I'm taking a person, a coach, a real estate agent, investor, anybody through a process, I always, one of the first things is if you're brand new, it's not important to get paid. It's important to get feedback so you can improve your process and continue to improve your process. So I always recommend, and I tell them the same thing. The negative feedback is more important than the positive feedback. Always collect feedback so you know how to improve. And you'll get some positive stuff naturally. Some people say, oh, he was great and not detailed, but you always want that negative feedback so you understand how to improve.
Yeah, agreed. And in this day when people are starting to distrust reviews more, I spend a lot of time on Reddit, and it's quite interesting how many people they don't even look at the 5-star reviews. They jump to the 3-star, 2-star, 1-star. They figure they'll get a little bit more authentic insight into what's going on with the company. I'll just switch to my book just for 1 second. You're a seasoned marketing guy. You've been around the industry for a long time, but was there anything new that you learned? Any insights?
Yes. Well, I don't know if I can say it's new. Like you, I don't know, because you like solidified the importance of reviews. Your book wasn't the first time I've heard you mention and emphasize the importance of reviews. So, and I tend to, like, a lot of people like to coach us and encourage us to go, go charge and get things. And I'm like, the reviews and what other people say, to me, it's just so much more important than what I say. Like third party validation, what other people say about you, because people just, they're skeptical. They tend not to believe you. And similar to what you said a little bit earlier, like they're going to believe all the 5-star stuff. Great. And that's easy to set those things up. But where is something negative? What are people saying there? And what you said, you're like, people tend to jump to the 3, 2, 1-star reviews. Even me. I'm like, let me look here on these negative and what people are actually saying, because when people are emotionally negative, they tend to tell the truth. When they're like positive, they're just like, great. They don't give a lot of details. But when you have a bad experience, you tend to give more detail. So your book helped me understand the importance of the reviews. You have a process behind it. I actually really respect you because I know that you've grown companies and other organizations on peer reviews. I can't remember exactly what your statistics were. I watched a couple of videos about your book, but I was like, I was really impressed because not a lot of people emphasize the importance of reviews and feedback. They're focused on the content and what the creator does. But what are people saying about what it is that you're out putting out there? That stuff is more important. And that's how you improve. So your book really helped me emphasize that. And I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And I'd sent you notes about one dilemma that I've been working my way through. And if you're comfortable giving me feedback on it, I'd love that. So, as you know, a lot of people cheat, and
Yes.
also, and there's also a lot of rules that are most people actually don't realize or don't know about. For example, Google actually says they don't want people incentivizing for any review. So no free coffee if you write a server review, no discount. Google's official policy is do not incentivize. But of course, so many people do. Yelp says never. ask for reviews. But now you're a new business or you just signed up on Yelp and your competitor has 50 or 100 reviews. So that puts you in a pretty tough spot. Google and the FTC, this one was really blew my mind. I actually spent days going down the rabbit hole to make sure that I've got this right. That if you do review gating, so that's you first ask somebody, were you happy with my service? And if they say yes, then you ask them for a review. That's called review gating. And both Google and the FTC say that's deceptive marketing. Even showing if you're showing reviews on your website and you only show the positive ones, that's called review filtering. And again, Google and the FTC, that's against their policies. Now, the chances that you're going to get caught are pretty slim, but you can get caught either by them because they are looking, but more often than not, it's somebody that's upset with you that decides they're going to turn you in or a competitor. So, my dilemma is obviously I have to make sure that people do understand that so they understand they're not breaking the rules. But I just don't know what to tell a new business or one that's just gone to a new platform and they're miles behind their competitors. It's very tempting to break the rules. Well, I guess I know the answer. It just feels very tough to be saying you got to do it right. It's not worth the risk. So I guess wanted to get your feedback too. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm an IT guy, so I tend to be logical too. If this, then that. If this, then that. It's like very logical stuff. So I have people I've come across, and they're like, everything's not black and white. Some stuff is not black and white, but and when I say black and white, I mean this or that. Now that is a clear rule. Don't review gate or anything like that. So even when I would, I never, I'm not aiming for reviews necessarily when I'm requesting people. So I'm aiming for feedback or, and that's why I use the word feedback a lot because I'm not aiming for like a rating. I don't want, it's not about getting a rating. I'll get those along the way, but I'm like, how can I improve? So my input to people, and I learned this from Jason Fladland, I forget the name of his book, One to Many. There's a process within his book, and he talks about different ways you can collect reviews or feedback from people. And when you're like brand new, I advise people to collect feedback on their character or feedback on a small win. There's a way to collect information and feedback from all kinds of and pieces of the process. So that's what I would encourage people to do. You just started a business, find some people that can talk about how you are as a person. Next, once you do something, you're really brand new, get a review. How was your checkout experience, for example? If you're a small business, let's say you're a burger shop or something like that. Get honest feedback. What was your experience like? Tell me everything. And I always make sure people know, tell me everything, the negatives and the positive. And I always say the negative is the most important so we can learn how to grow and how to improve. So there's ways where you can like just ask for honest feedback. I'm a small business. I'm just getting started. We really want some feedback on how we could grow better. And you have to work that you have to hit the ground. They call it grassroots. You have to hit those grassroots, but ask. And that's the most important time. And that's the most important stuff. Just ask directly. And people are willing to help you. The way that I found to expedite that, because a lot of people struggle with reviews, is to let people talk, interview them, ask them a question, because it's hard for people to think about what to say. And an interview or a review, that's a big thing to ask of people. They're like, what do you want me to say? But if you ask them to talk in a video format or audio format and you get that transcribed, you do a lot of the work for them, it tends to be a little easier.
Yeah, that's solid advice. Nice thing too, when people do leave you negative feedback publicly, that's also an opportunity. A lot of people freak out when that happens, but then if they see how you respond, that you
Mm-hmm.
take it very seriously, you don't get defensive, you don't start slamming the person for doing that, and that you show genuinely that you really want to learn from them. If it's a mistake that you made, that you want to improve your business, that
Right, and
really,
how to make it better. And then I want to the story I told a little bit earlier where I did like a presentation. They were like, Jerome, you didn't do that great. And I was like, okay, thank you. Like, how can I be better? And what can I do to repair the damage that I caused? And when you do stuff like that, customer service or someone had a bad experience, those negative people become your biggest advocates.
yep, great. I was watching one of your podcast episodes, and I think was it Brian Carson?
Yes.
Yeah, that was great. And I loved the question you asked him. It's actually a two-parter. How can somebody add long-term value to your business? So somebody that's listening or watching, what would be helpful to you?
Ooh, like right now, to make it relevant and based on this podcast, I would say long term value. I'm always just looking for feedback on ways where I can improve. So let's just say they're watching this podcast. I would like honest feedback, including the negative, on what I could have said or what I could have done as an interviewee to just be better as a person. That feedback, I just value feedback so much. And a little bit earlier when I stepped off, I was like, let me go grab something so I can show you a process. So I wasn't able to show, I'm going to show you here my process. I like to put together books, but you've seen this before because you've been in my workshop. I have this book where I call it the marketing implementation results. It's success stories, case studies, and testimonials. I'm always collecting feedback and testimonials, the negatives and the positive. This book is 400 plus pages of just feedback and reviews. So this solidifies and buttons up the process that I told you about a little bit earlier. Like all the feedback, all the reviews, screenshots, text, videos, everything. Every time I get feedback, I slap it in this book. And this is a log of everything that people are saying about me, a process, something I've done, a win that I've helped them with. And honestly, I maybe started this 4 years ago, but I've been in like helping people for 10 years. So it's not even all of them. But I started to collect them. So I recommend people start now, start soon, start to gather and collect that information. So that's my long-winded way of saying feedback here, not to just me, but less like how can we improve? Give a rating, a review, whether it's a podcast, a video interview, a comment. Give us that honest feedback. Did we say something wrong? Was the interview too short? Was it long? Was it not long enough? Give us that feedback and let us know how we can improve. So I'm always looking for feedback. That long-term value, give me that honest feedback. That brings long-term value to me because it lets me know how I can improve and help other people.
That's really wise. And I'll ask for the same kind of feedback from anyone watching or listening for myself as well. Cool. And what's the best way to learn more about you and contact you?
Yes, sir. I have a website, jeromelewis.com. That's my personal website. If you go there, it's easy to find everything about me. My phone number, which I'll say here, 267-888-1085. My email address, jerome@jeromelewis.com. Everything you need to find out about me personally as Jerome as the individual. If you go to jeromelewis.com, it's all there.
And I love that site. It really gives a solid picture from your business work to your personal background also. It's
Thank you.
giving me inspiration for a page I'm looking to build for myself.
Thank you, sir. I enjoy this review process. I really do. So I was excited about this review and this rating process because I don't think there's enough emphasis on it. So I just really enjoyed the interview. I think more people should focus and talk about it. That's important. What other people say about you and how to improve. So this was
Cool.
a great interview. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.